Hey, everybody, welcome to our next live conversation with Mark. And I'm so excited to have my next guest here. Her name is Alyssa Lopez. She is from Big Brother season 23 and also the Challenge USA. So thank you so much for coming and taking your time to do this.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Before I started, I wanted to thank you again because you are the first person from Big Brother that I have ever had in an interview.
All
I
right.
just started doing these interviews pretty recently.
All right. And that title can never change. So that's a pretty big
The title, you got the crown.
yes.
So I
May
just
not be
wanted
the
to
best
tell the
interview,
viewers
but it's gonna be the first. So
is going to be the first. And
yes.
I want to make it the best also. I always want every next interview I do to be the best and the current one I'm on to be the best. But I wanted to tell the viewers why and how I ended up reaching out to you in the first place. And it was because I was scrolling through Twitter, which is not usually a productive thing to do, but I ended up doing it that day. And I saw somebody talking about you working at Hooters.
Yes.
And I saw that you had a response to that. What was that about?
I think I saw it and I was more so I wasn't embarrassed or mad for me. It was more so like I like thought, how can you be mad at someone for having a job? And it was more so my response was to stick up for other people in my situation that is getting hate for it. Cause there are so many influencers in this world that have a full 9 to 5 job. They just don't show it. And I don't really understand that because it's a part of life. Um,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes influencing doesn't always pay the bills. It's very frequent here and there. And working to bartend twice a week, I don't think is, or twice a month, twice a week is really something that I should be offended by or anybody should be offended by. So I kind of wanted to stand up for myself, but also for other people in my same position.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I'm sure that since the time you came out of the house, especially once you
Hmm.
got some fame, you probably get a lot of different things that you could respond to all day. But it makes
Right.
sense now that you're explaining there is a specific reason for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I had to add a little bit of my sarcasticness into it a little bit. I didn't expect it to go as blown up as it did. I was just responding to it. I didn't reread it, make sure it sounded good. I kind of just posted it and went to sleep. And then the next day I saw like how it kind of went somewhat viral on Twitter. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I hope people see this. And a lot of people reached out, influencers thanking me for being real about it because some people feel embarrassed when I don't think anyone should.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. In looking up a little bit about your story, it was
Mhm.
pretty interesting to me because I was watching the interview that you did with Kyland,
Mhm.
and I realized in the interview that this was actually a place that gave you your first start. Can you talk a little bit about that
Yeah, I
in
mean, I
terms of
started
self-confidence?
yeah, I started at 18. I've never been into a Hooters before that, and I honestly owe a lot to Hooters. I was way more awkward than I am now. I was very insecure with how I looked or how I presented. You learn a lot of people skills and also a lot of you build a lot of confidence being there. I've met my best friend there. I've met a lot of great people, amazing experiences. The most I've traveled before Big Brother was just with Hooters. I was able to do exciting opportunities, billboard shoots, and be on taxi tops and stuff. So you really get to like do so much with the
Wow.
company. It's not just a bartending job. And it also helped me pay through my time in college. So I honestly, it's really an awesome job to have. I did quit right before the show, so it did suck having to just go back, but just twice a month or twice a week. I thought, why not to get some extra cash, especially since I ended up moving to Tampa recently, and the rent is pretty pricey here in Florida. So,
Not like New York, though.
yeah, true, but it's a little pricey, not gonna lie, compared to my other place I had in Sarasota. So,
So something I didn't know is that you actually experience social anxiety, and that's not something you would think that somebody who goes on a show where they take away all your privacy and have cameras on you 24/7, and you move in with the family you never wanted and
yeah.
never knew you needed type thing.
What's funny is the show helped with my anxiety because before the
Wow.
show, producers were worried about it. So I kinda made it sound not as bad as it was. And then I go into the house, and this was before the live cameras were on. It was right
Mhm.
after the live competition. It immediately hit me, and I was puking the whole first night of Big Brother. I puked maybe 7 times, laid in the bathroom all day. I was so upset with myself, embarrassed, thought like everyone's gonna be like, who is this girl? I even went into like the diary room where you talk, and I really thought like, wow, I just took someone's opportunity away to be on this show because I genuinely thought I wasn't gonna be able to make it. It's kind of like this nervous stomach thing I have where if I go out for the night with my friends or I have a job interview or I go on Big Brother, like it's going to act up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I had to deal with beforehand. That was the only night that that happened, but a lot of times I won't eat or certain things like that. But honestly, being on the show helped me because honestly, doing an interview like this, I would
Mhm.
be throwing up or getting nauseous for hours before this. And now it's just a
Yeah.
piece of cake for me. So I am really glad that I went on for those reasons too, but also to show people if you go through that, like you can also go on a TV show that's surveillance 24/7. So it definitely helped. It still happens. It happened twice on the challenge. They didn't air it or anything, but it does happen here and there.
All of my viewers always tell me I should go on Big Brother, and I'm like, "No." But maybe now that you said it, I'm like, that will cure it.
It
Or the
it's somewhat cured mine because I used to get nauseous just going out with my friends with, like, social anxiety, I guess, and now it just happens if I go on a TV show or something.
I
More
get it,
severe.
though. It's like you were so overexposed to it
Mhm.
that all of a sudden it just kinda went away, versus when you're kind
Yeah.
of dipping in the pool a little bit
Mhm.
at the parties or going out wherever you are going out and experiencing it on a small scale. You're like,
Right.
"America's watching. I'm going to the bathroom and the camera's
It was
swirling
so
on."
weird. Like, I vividly remember when it hit because I thought it was gonna hit so much sooner, and I don't think I really realized what I was doing. And then
Mhm.
I just vividly remember sitting in the kitchen with Claire and Big D, and we're just talking, and it hit me, and my eyes went fuzzy. I ran to the bathroom. It's so weird, and it's hard to explain to people too that doesn't happen to, because it's like
Mhm.
it's not my stomach hurts and eating isn't going to help. It's that I need to stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Um, so when the live cameras came on, I was in the bathroom. Thankfully, the puking wasn't shown, but if you look at those, you see me and like my team just the whole night I was in the bathroom, just laying there.
Wow. So you thought that your Big Brother experience might be coming to an end at that point.
I truly was like, I just took someone's experience away because I thought if it's gonna happen now, it's gonna happen throughout it, kind of thing. But that was
Mhm.
actually the only day it was that severe. So
Wow.
other than the, competition I did, I we were spinning, and I got
Mhm.
really dizzy, and I my brain is like, if I feel dizzy, "Oh my god, I'm really, really dizzy," and it makes it to the extreme. If I would just
Mhm.
be calm, it wouldn't, and I, like, blacked out, and I fell off so quickly. It was really embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about your vision board, because I thought that was a really cool story about your vision board.
Yeah.
And
With the Big Brother? Yeah,
with Big Brother, yes.
it was my dream since I was 9. I started watching it with my family, and it was like the main happy time I can think about with my family. So I think that's why had like such an obsession over it. I watched it ever since then, and I was like, when I turn 21, I'm gonna apply. So I had a vision board when I was 18. It was in the middle of my vision board. I had it all up until I left for Big Brother. I showed the production crew like the vision board,
Mhm.
and I just had the logo there. And I applied when I was 21. I didn't get a call. I applied again, and I got top 60, but then COVID happened, so they did all stars, and then they
Oh.
called me back for. And then when it was BB23, they just called me. I didn't have to apply.
Oh,
So
okay. So because you had already applied previously.
yeah, they were basically like people who were top 60. I'm so sorry, we don't know what we're doing. So they did all stars, and they were like, we will call you to see if you're interested next year, which is funny because I happened to Frenchie and Ozza. So it's
Mhm.
interesting. Like if they had Big Brother 22, like I maybe would have been in there with Frenchie and Ozza. So
Yeah, and I also heard that Turner from Big
Yeah,
Brother.
I
Yeah,
think
from
that.
Big Brother 24 was supposed to be on Big Brother 23 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I heard that too. It's really interesting to see because I think even who was it? I think Tyler from BB20. He wasn't like he got called for a later season or something. I mean, Christian applied for Survivor and got on, so it's a bunch of different ways. But I was like the diehard super fan applying.
That's what I was just about to ask. So you were also a super fan.
Yeah, I mean, I've
You
watched.
downplayed that.
Really?
Because for me, like when Hannah came in, she made it known like I'm a super fan. Everyone knew she was a super
I
fan.
didn't want people to know because I felt like that'd be a threat, and I also
Yeah.
found out that me and Frenchie's older, much older than me, were the ones that watched it the longest. So like, there's people that
Oh,
just started watching it a few years ago and got hooked, but I've watched it since I was a kid. So I didn't really want to make that a main thing, and make it seem like, oh my God, I'm this super fan. It was so funny because so many people in the beginning were like, oh, I just started watching it casually. Like, you don't know what the right answer to say is. It was so awkward. But Hannah, you just could tell right away. And
yes,
that was a
yes,
threat to people. So I was like, I'm
yes.
just going to act like I watch it here and there. But honestly, I didn't watch the live feeds.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I can call myself a super fan because those people,
I've been asking people what a super fan is because I became a fan of Big Brother during COVID. I
okay.
was always a challenge fan. And
Okay.
then a lot of Big Brother people started coming on the challenge
Mhm.
and they had backstories that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
This happened to this one here and this one happened to this one here. And I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
a
started
definitely a show
watching
you have to get invested in. It's either you are a super fan or you've never heard of it. It's one
exactly,
of those 2.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I started watching on your season. I
Oh,
saw like
okay.
older seasons prior, but
Mhm.
your season was the first live season that I ever saw.
I mean, I'm biased, but I think our season really is the best season they've had. I'm just being biased. At least
So
one of the best seasons, like, newer seasons.
yeah, I like season 16 quite a lot.
That's with Derek, right?
Yeah, I like
Yeah, yeah,
season
that's a good
16. I
one.
like season 10 with
Yes,
Jen.
season I was gonna say season 10 is my favorite.
Oh, it's your favorite? Yeah, I
Mhm.
like that one. So I wanted to ask, you wanted to be on Big Brother since you were 9, you said. You had it on the center of your vision board. You get there,
Mhm.
and the very first week, Frenchie puts you on the block.
Yeah.
And then after you get put on the block, Derek X wins the power of veto, leaves
Mhm.
you on the block. So you're still on the block. So
Yeah.
how did you feel to have this dream that you spent all these all these years wanting to be on the show? It was on your vision board. You just got there. You got through the anxiety you were facing, and
Yeah.
there you are thinking about potentially going home.
Yeah, my friends and family were like, "We're not worried about her losing. It's more so we're worried about how she's going to be knowing that this was her dream and she left first." Like, I was really when it happened too, you just feel like, "Oh my God, no one likes you." Like, it was just so out of the blue. Because the plan was like Travis and Derek, Frenchie said he's not putting any minority up or any woman up. Then he puts a Hispanic woman. So I was just very confused. So when that happened, it was like, oh my God, no one likes me. Am I me being myself? Do people not like how I am? Like it was like hurtful almost. And then to find out the reason why, it was just so stupid and ridiculous, even though it ended up being correct, well, weeks later. But in that moment,
It was so fast. Yeah.
that was only the 3rd day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "This guy's insane. This guy is truly insane."
What did
Um,
he say? Something like, in order to catch the big fish. I forgot
yeah,
exactly how he said it,
I
but
I don't know, but
basically putting you on there to catch Christian.
and keep in mind that being in that room was probably we were in there for like 4 hours straight talking with him. And we realized
Wow.
the last person to talk to him is who is gonna have the last say because we thought, "Oh, let's go to sleep, leave him alone." This man was crazy, crazy.
I was thinking of BB24 and how they stayed up so late to where they were up at like I don't know what time it
Mhm.
was over there. I guess 3 hours
Yeah.
earlier than me in the East Coast. But I'm
Mhm.
staying up and they're going to bed like an hour before the sun is coming up,
Yeah.
like 9, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Like there's three,
That
four of
that
them, and
was
it
late.
seems It
That was
seems
lit.
like so it seems like people kinda wait things out for strategy purposes, like, I have to be there
Mhm.
to have the last word from what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you have that and, like, being able to meet up at that time, and production is smart because they'll open the backyard, 'cause we can't go to sleep until 9 or 10, I can't remember. So, they'll open the backyard when the power veto's over, right at 10 o'clock. So we're like dogs, we get so excited that we get to go outside that a second wind gets in us,
That
and we're
sounds so
awake all over
bad.
again. We scream and run outside, we're so excited that we get outside, it sounds psychotic. But they do that purposely so we're up more, you know?
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
but it's a lot of late nights, a lot of late nights.
That's the next thing I wanted to ask you about now that you brought it up. Showmances. Before you got to the show, did you have
Meanwhile meanwhile, my boyfriend's right there. But he has headphones in, so it's okay.
did you have a strategy before you came in where you said to yourself, "I'm not gonna get in one," or did you say, "Whatever happens, happens"?
I really didn't want expectations for myself because then I didn't want to be too hard on myself or get myself overwhelmed because I was already going in with such anxiety that I already had to deal with. I didn't want to pile on more thought processes, honestly. Looking back, I wish I really stuck more with it instead of going with the flow. Because one of the main things I stuck with is, Alyssa, you're such an overthinker. Don't overthink too much. When that is literally what I should have been doing the entire time.
Yeah.
So I definitely wish I had a different mindset, but if I'm being honest, I did wanna go in and just this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, think smart, but have fun also, but with the showmance thing, I didn't really expect me to, honestly, that wasn't, like, a plan of mine, but I also wasn't going to, like, be upset with myself if I did, and if anything, it was great to have, like, a number 1 person in there because sometimes you don't, and to be able to fully 100% trust somebody going into a game like that, it really is mentally, like, helpful.
I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah,
So, when you realized that Derek X was trying to
yeah.
backdoor Christian,
Mhm.
how did that make you feel?
It was like it was so upsetting because then you realize you were the only one, and then people still wanna act like you're an idiot and, like, be like, "Oh, we had no idea." I'm like, "Okay, please just stop," you know? And then you realize you feel like everyone's after you again. Because on week 1, I felt like no one wanted to work with me. When you're on the block, no one really wants to talk to you. They wanna, like, kinda keep their distance, which is like a hurtful feeling, you know. They don't mean to, it's a game. So then feeling that again, like, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the house again. What am I doing wrong? What's this? Who can I trust? Who knew? Who didn't? So it was definitely overwhelming, and I almost felt a little guilty for it. Because I remember on the wall comp, I was really wanting to make sure I was safe, and I never said, "Can Christian be safe too?" And when Derek said, "Oh," I was like, "I'll keep you and Hannah safe. I'll keep you," and I never thought of him, so I felt a little guilty, but I think that would have happened either way, and it was truly going to be me or him. And I think if I didn't hold on with Derek, it would have been me because the girls in the cookout wanted me out, not Christian.
Were you seconds away from falling off? Because we don't really know. They always show us these
Yeah.
clips of you guys talking in the
You
diary
know,
room in
it's
between.
annoying because I was so in the zone. I didn't talk to anybody. I really zoned out. Like Brittany was trying to talk with me, and I go, Brittany, please stop talking to me. There's shots where my eyes are just shut, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just breathing and focusing. As soon as I open my eyes, I see it's only me, Derek, and X. That was the first time I opened my eyes. I would just be like, who fell? So when I saw that, I was like, in my head, I'm like, X doesn't want to be HOH again. If Derek drops, X will drop. Meanwhile,
Mhm,
if we look back now, X wouldn't have done that.
mhm.
But I'm holding on. And as soon as I kind of zone out of what my focus was, it was game over. I was trying to make promises as we were falling down. I wasn't really focused anymore. And that's when I completely just slipped and fell. So I slipped and fell, and maybe 5 minutes later it was over because then X just gave it to him. So,
Right. So
but
there's
Derek did say he probably only had 3 more tilts left. He was like
oh, so it's pretty
struggling,
close.
but I don't think X was struggling. X
Yeah,
was
I've
chill.
heard you say that. I heard you say that you guys didn't realize how good he was at all
Yeah.
the comps until later on.
Yeah, he
Like,
was chilling. So
yeah.
he wouldn't have dropped, but he wouldn't have put up if Derek dropped, he wouldn't have put up Christian. So it would have been a whole different scenario. But I felt guilty too because the week before, Christian really wanted to put Derek up. And we were all like, no, 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 no.
I know
So,
he regretted that.
oh my God. And I feel guilty because I was one of the people saying not to.
Right.
Yeah.
So when there was 8 people left, they did like a funny little edit where they were showing you going around and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, if Claire goes home, then
Mhm.
the last 7 are all gonna be people of color."
I know. I was so excited.
We'll send Claire packing. I mean, I will. I'm not sending X home. You know that.
Me and Extra thought of this, and I know this is not the reason why we're doing this at all. But if this plan follows through, the final 7 are all minorities.
Oh, I didn't even think
Yep.
of that.
And Derek was like, "Really?"
Yeah, I was, you know what's funny is I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until X said it to me, and X was trying to almost hint it at me, I guess. He told me later on that he was trying to help me solve it a little bit. And I go, "Oh my God, X, you're so right." And I was so excited to share this with people because I was so excited about it. Because I truly didn't see what was going on because one, they were so good at orchestrating it. Number
Yeah.
2, I mean, the whole plan itself, they were never really seen together. And then 3, I just didn't see anyone in that way because I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like
'Cause
I
you're
always
also a
saw
person of
everyone as
color.
the same, no matter what. So I was just so excited about that moment. And I had no idea I was going to be a meme or an edit of it, but it kind of
I
is
get it
funny.
though.
But you can see my sarcasm too, so because I was like, I'm half white. Am I next?
Tops, if our plan goes through, which
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
figuring it is,
Yep. Yep.
top 7 is all minority.
That's the first
Technically,
thing.
I'm half white, so am I next?
Why do you think that? What is wrong with you? I'm done with you, Alyssa. I'm not talking to you for the rest of the day.
On paperwork, I put Hispanic.
Girl, you're a Hispanic.
I don't
Don't worry about it.
Joking.
I remember that.
Yeah, but it makes me laugh, but I'm like, I kind of like it because you can see my excitement about it too.
You looked very excited about it. And I get it though, because you're in the house playing the game. We're
Mhm.
hearing every conversation, seeing every different angle, and
Right.
you're kind of just in there. And
There was 2 different games being played. They were playing the
yeah.
Cookouts game and Big Brother. I was just playing Big Brother. So I only saw that game. I didn't see their cookout. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it was I truly, like, they did it so well. So
To tell you the truth though, when they first said this cookout thing, I said, "Oh, that sounds cool." I wanted to see something like that happen, but I was like, I don't think they're gonna be able to work together well enough to
yeah, they had
actually
some
orchestrate
hiccups.
this. They had some hiccups. So I
Yeah.
was like, this is a cool background alliance, but I
Mhm.
don't necessarily think it's gonna make it to 6.
I
Then
think Tiffany's plan was the main reason why it did. I think without that plan, I don't think, I mean, they could have still, but I think Tiffany's plan really solidified their chances. That was, like, genius.
yeah, that was genius.
Mhm.
So I wanted to say, like, the interviews that you had, like the interview you had with Julie after you got out,
Mhm.
and the few interviews that they give you right after you get out of the house were a little bit different than your interviews like
Yes.
sometime down the line. So I want to know, was that because you watched the show and felt a type of way about not being included in the plan? I know that at the beginning you're like, it's tough, but I understand it. And
Mhm.
then later on you said you feel betrayed.
Yeah,
Why?
I would say that it's not necessarily a betrayal in a personal way. It's more so in a game way where you got me, but if we're in a game again, I'm not gonna let you get me again. And I think a lot of people forget that our season happened, and then 6 months later, I go on this next show. So that's not like it's
Right.
years later where Tyson and Sarah still had problems and didn't trust each other. That was years ago. This is 6 months later, and I'm playing a game again, and it's like, okay, I don't want to get got again. I don't want to get got again, and there was a lot more into my decision of putting an X than just a betrayal type feeling.
Mhm.
No one trusted Big Brother. I know you can know from the challenge. No one ever trusts Big Brother. That was already obvious. I knew that as far as Big Brother 23, I was at the low end where Kylan would choose Ozzy and Tiffany over me. Tiffany would choose Ozzy over me. Ozzy would choose Tiffany over me. You know, so I knew I needed to be at the top somewhere else and show people that I'm not just Big Brother, because so many people were against Big Brother. So making that move made people realize I'm not just all talk. And as soon as I did, more conversations started coming my way. More people trusted me. More people added me into different alliances. And I truly think making that move helped me get to where I was at the end.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to say something about the Big Brother part of it. Everybody always said, "I don't trust those Big Brother players," like you said on the
We're
challenge
crazy
and
in the
whatever.
head. We're
But
crazy.
it's true, but I just started watching Survivor, and I'm like, Survivor is cutthroat.
Yeah, but you know what? They're secret about it. Like when we went into the house, Tiffany was already having one-on-ones with people. Like as soon as we get into the challenge house, Kylan was doing whispering. We like are so whispery because we're used to having to whisper and stuff, being in the house and like secrety, where Survivor is more just cutthroat, but
Out
they,
in the open.
you know, and I think they also are so smart where they realized that we were being that way and other people were like, yo, relax, where they took in everyone else and was like, yeah, Big Brother's too much, Big Brother's too much. I think we went in too hot was the problem. And also we had the most amount of numbers and we had 6 people from
Yeah.
one season. That was a very tight season. So
Did you
we kind
feel
of
a
were
little?
going in with failure already.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Even though you did really well,
Thank
but
you.
yeah, you did really well. So, how did you feel about having 4 Cookout members that you had just come off of the show and been in this situation with, and now you're just jumping into this next show where you're all playing together? Did you feel a little paranoid
Yes.
about whether they had your back or not?
Yes, it was really scary because I went in with on Big Brother, I was just taking X's word, you know? And then going into the next show, it's like I have to take their word again. It's very at 6 months later, it's super scary to go through that again and not know if it's serious this time. It's a whole different game too. It's not just about, you know, jury votes or this and that. It's does X and Kylan see me as a good competitor to keep around? Does Tiffany and Azza see me as a threat and they want to take me out? There were so many different angles and I kind of wanted to see how it would go. But when I first went in, it really felt like I was kind of like X's sidekick. It didn't feel like I was my own player. So that was kind of like a situation with me. And we did have an argument. They didn't show too much of it, where he really wasn't sticking his neck out for me when Tiffany went in until I said something.
Mhm.
In the challenge, there's 5 girls and 5 guys that make the final. You can stick your neck out, and that's just kind of how I am and how I would do things. And I just felt like you already got me on the last show. I need you to almost prove to me that you have my back here. And it wasn't until I said something that he kind of stuck his neck out. And it was just like, if he can't even stick his neck out this one time, will he be able to in the future? So that was a little
I get
concern.
it.
I wasn't concerned about Azza. Azza is very straightforward. She doesn't care to lie or manipulate. She'll tell you exactly how it is. Derek felt good with Kyland. It wasn't until the move with X that I was like, all right, I'm solid with Kyland. As far as Tiffany, it was between me or her. You know, it was either I'm going in with Enzo or she's going in with Castro. So it was almost like I was on the block with her and I have to have people choose reasons why I should stay and not her. So we were kind of pinned against each other at that point.
It's interesting. I never really thought of that perspective. So it's kind of like what they say Survivor, trust is your currency in the game. So it's like
Mhm.
if you've been in another game and you're like, I couldn't trust you in this particular game. We come into this next game. Even if I want to trust you as a friend, it's a little bit less. I'm not going in with the same blind confidence as when we
Right.
first
And I
were
I
in.
I wish I'm really proud of how well I did on Big Brother, how far I made it. But that you do have to kind of think about that of like, okay, am I gonna make the same mistake again? I'd rather try something new than make them at that same mistake, you know. Either way, I was going in, either I make the mistake or I make a move and it messes up my game, who knows? And I'm also someone that can mentally keep real life and the show's life in 2 different places. I don't take things personally. So that's why I say you got me in the game, I still care a lot about you. I still trust you in my real life aspect, but in the game, it's a totally different world that I'm able to separate, but unfortunately some people can't.
Would you
So
say you got back on good terms afterwards?
at first, no. At first, I had no idea how mad he was because, again, I thought it was just a game. And because I did so well after and that move made sense that I thought he would respect it. So it was a little rocky at first. Obviously, like it just happened or whatever. It was right after I got off. After that, we talked a little bit, and then I waited until that episode aired, and we like squashed it and talked and everything. So we squashed it like months ago. But at first, no.
That's good.
You,
It took a
I was,
while.
I was like, I heard you unfollowed me on Instagram, and he was mad. I was like, oh, whoa, whoa.
I feel like it's tough. There's so many dynamics when you go on a show. Because if I have a problem with you in person in real life, there's no cameras and there's no other cast and
Yeah.
there's no fandom and Twitter and all that stuff, we can resolve it pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
if you're still in the house, he's home and
Yes.
he's watching on TV now, he's kind of stewing on it,
Yeah.
and you're still in there playing, then
Mhm.
it's like a bigger thing for you when you come out and you don't even really know
Oh, yeah,
what's
I
happening.
came out, had no idea, but then there's people in his ear not even getting, like, my information, you know? And obviously, like, the way that the show is gonna edit it for the best amount of drama, you know? So you go in these interviews and you talk for hours, but you know the one clip they took of me every time was mentioning someone from the Cookout, you know? You have a different outfit each episode, but I had, like, 5 different outfits on every episode because they only took those sound bites.
I was feeling like that was a storyline they were putting out there because I felt like every few minutes it was like, I want to get revenge on X.
But it makes
You
sense
see
for
X, I want to get revenge.
TV. Like, there was even a clip, on the trivia one, him and Shan fall, and it goes to a clip of me smiling when we weren't even watching them. We were getting
That's
harnessed up. We weren't even able to watch their round. So again, I get it. It's good TV.
we got the
And
Alyssa villain edit.
I know. Angela's like, "You're in your villain era." I'm like, "All right."
How did it feel ending up having to go in against Angela right before the end?
I knew my ass was going home. Like, I knew. I look at that poll and I'm like, if they're putting me in against an Olympic pole vaulter, the smallest girl. So I was walking down smiling. My boyfriend laughs because he was like, "You look so happy to do it." I'm like, I just knew I was going home to my dogs. Like it was time. It was my time to end. I truly thought I was leaving first episode. So to get that far, I was already proud of myself. So going in, it did suck because I felt like we did so good being against, like we were completely against the girls were against us, you know, and we were against each other battling that, and to get that, and we were almost got it. And it just sucked that like right at the end we weren't able to do it, and we kind of like both knew she's about to destroy me, you know. um
You were so sad.
I know it was,
Oh
and
man.
Angela is not one to show emotion, so it meant a lot that she did care, you know. I felt really bad, but I that's why I was trying to reassure her, like it's okay, like. And then seeing how the final ended, I'm like, I'm good.
Oh my goodness.
I left perfect timing.
Those challenge finals are crazy.
Yeah, so I left really good timing. I was happy with how when I left everything, and it was like bittersweet because I was leaving, but that meant Angela got to stay. She got to keep all that cash I had, so it worked out.
Would you ever go back?
I would if the timing was right. Now that it's like a year after, not 6 months after Big Brother or anything. Now that I'm able to kind of mentally adjust from that, I would if the timing was right. I really did have a good time during it. Like it was for me so much better than Big Brother. I liked the more, it's not as secretive or hidden or so much lying. It's straight to the point. You're gonna say who you're putting in. You don't get to secretly lie about it and stuff. And there you don't have to worry about sucking up as much because people, when they go home, they go home. And I felt like I pushed
Yeah.
myself a lot. Like it was very fulfilling in that way of like, I can't believe I just did something like that, you know? So it's
I've heard
very fulfilling.
I've heard a lot of Big Brothers say that something they like about that versus Big Brother is that even if everybody's against you, somebody still has to physically take you out somehow.
Right, that's the
Through
thing. You
some
get a
kind of
they're giving
competition.
you a second chance. Yeah, like they may want you out so badly, but it's truly up to you. So it doesn't matter if you don't get along with people in the house, you're not in alliance with them, or you're not this. Yeah, you may be sent in more, but it's always up to you to get yourself back, not dependent on other people. So
I
I like
definitely understand
that.
that.
Yeah.
Did you watch Big Brother season 24?
No, I was not mentally ready to.
I
And
get
it
it.
sucks because it was like my childhood. I watched Big Brother every summer. If it was on, everyone knew to leave me alone. But I couldn't do it mentally. I don't know. It gave me really bad anxiety. Hannah would update me here and there, or I would check things on Twitter. So I was definitely up to date with it, but I didn't watch a single episode. I watched the finale. I did watch the finale, and I think one episode was on one time, but the only one I fully watched was the finale, and Taylor's speech
Yeah,
gave me chills. And I didn't
amazing.
watch the show. Oh my god, that I literally got chills.
Season 24 and season 23. Season 24 was different, very different because
Yeah.
of season 23.
Mhm.
So at times it was a little bit difficult to watch
Really.
because so many like social elements
Yeah.
and race elements and that were in the game now.
Mhm.
So there was a situation with Kyle that I'm sure that you heard about
Yes, yeah.
where Kyle was like, "What about Jasmine? This one, and this one forming a Cookout 2.0?" And he asked that question, and everything kind of exploded later on as
Yeah.
Michael took that, and at the time was like, "Yeah, it's a genuine concern, but we haven't seen anything like that yet, so I don't want to assume that." Then we think it's done. Then
Mhm.
later on, to when his people are on the block, he brings that up and has a serious conversation with everybody and says, "I think he's racist." So it's so hard for me to see the game when those elements are brought
Yeah.
in situations that are not necessarily obvious or blatant racism.
Yeah, I did see some things on Twitter and heard more about it, and it's talking with Hannah and Kylan and even X, it's like the whole reason why they did what they did was so no one else has to do something like that again. It was to prove a point and to help out people like them. So I don't know if maybe paranoia got in Kylan's head, because paranoia does happen in
Kyle.
that house.
Yeah.
It makes you go crazy. But to go to that level, it could be just honestly personal, not immaturity, but just not knowing about other cultures and like real world experiences to realize that he shouldn't even be thinking that. So I don't know him personally. I didn't really, again, I only watch stuff on Twitter, but that was interesting to see that our season kind of had something to do with season 24 as well.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
So you talked about your experience a little bit about coming out of the house. What
Mhm.
exactly was it like after being in the Big Brother house for so long and then being in the jury house and then going back to the real world? Was that a hard transition?
I have a lot of like I feel for people that leave on double evictions, because anyone else, you kind of have a week, or even if you get backdoored, you have a few days to kind of prepare that you may be leaving. You kind of get an idea. Especially in my case, when I truly had, I mean, you saw, if you watch it, you saw how excited I was that Hannah won. I was so happy for her. Um,
Yeah, I know
so
too.
yeah, I really was going to. So I had truly no idea in that moment, or just that you don't have a week to prepare and you just leave and you're with these people. What was it, 65 days I was in there, and you just are with people that know your name, cameras, other crew members. You go outside, you talk with people, you're allowed to talk to them. You go in a hotel room. It's like I was still changing in the shower because I thought cameras were still there. You have a full body mirror. You see how your body completely, like I lost so much weight in there. It was weird. And you go back to the hotel you started at. So
Mhm.
not having that week to kind of somewhat prepare was very hard. Um, the first few days in jury, I didn't sleep much because of just the adjustment. But I'm glad they have jury. I know it's a whole point of the show, but it is great to kind of decompress in there and have that time. I think I had the perfect amount. I had just enough, not too much, but not too less of a time there. So that definitely helped, and we were able to have a bunch of conversations in there that you're usually not able to in the house. So that was a really great experience. Coming out of it, it was overwhelming. My best friend said it was like I mean, we would go out to dinner and I wouldn't speak. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to like interact. It was nice because Christian came back with me, so like at least I had someone, But we were all of us were very like obsessed with each other. Like I couldn't go a day without talking to one of them. I couldn't go a
That's
month without
interesting.
seeing one of them. You're really like attached to them. And without them, you feel you don't understand what to do. So it was definitely an adjustment. And honestly, I don't think it was until after the challenge where I was like, oh, wait, I haven't been myself. So it's weird. It
So
makes it
after,
sound so horrible to go on the show, but I promise it's a great time.
yeah, I actually asked Hannah about that. I met some of the people from your season
Hmm.
at Big D's birthday party
Oh, okay.
a few months ago, and I
Mhm.
was asking Hannah about that specific thing, and she was like, "Yeah, she was overstimulated,
Yeah.
coming back out and being out in the real world and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah. It's a lot. And then like people know who you are, and then you read the things that were said, and then you're just like, it's just so much because Big Brother fans are the most invested, I think, just because they see you and listen to you 24.
Bar none,
Yeah,
bar
so
none.
yeah, and it was
Yeah,
almost like some almost feel like they're allowed to be so like involved in your life and asking what's going on. We need to be telling them. And I
yeah.
took the route of going home and not really posting as much, going back to work. And I'm kind of glad I did that instead of just like kept going with everything. But it's a lot, but I would do it again. So can't be
The
that bad.
reason the reason I know exactly what you're talking about is because even just covering Big Brother, I get some darts and arrows thrown at me for some regular opinions. Like, wait a minute. I was
Yeah.
just watching, making some commentary, and it's like, why are you
Mhm.
so angry? So
Yeah,
I can
it's
only imagine if
crazy.
I was a house guest.
Yeah.
But I learned about why it's like that this season because this
Mhm.
was the first season I really watched live feeds like that.
Oh,
Your
okay.
season, I caught like a couple of live feeds, but
Yeah.
when you're watching the live feeds consistently every day, who's hooking up? Who's having this conversation about this?
Yeah,
What did
you
this
get
one say about?
invested.
Yeah, like they're having conversations about their life back home, their childhood. They might say something that sounds out of pocket, and then the
Mhm.
fandom is getting mad at that. And then it's
Yeah.
like they really like this person, they really don't like this person. And there's Twitter wars, and it's a lot. It's
I didn't have a Twitter before, Big Brother. I actually deleted that app off my phone. I go on it here and there, but I think there's just a lot more negativity on the app than positivity.
I
So I
agree.
removed it, and I check here and there.
Yeah, like the comment I saw about you, that was
Yeah. Yeah,
the
that
first
was
thing
when I
that I saw.
checked it.
That was the
That was
first thing that I saw when I opened up Twitter. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of feedback from it. I did not expect that, but
How
she
have
never
you
came
dealt with
in.
that?
She never
What
came in. I didn't get her a shot. What'd you say? She never came in,
um,
huh?
the social media part.
Mhm.
How is it now, like, before you were known like that, and then coming out, and then all of a sudden they talk about how your numbers all go up. I remember Turner talking about there's an actual site that takes statistics of whose page gets the most new followers, like,
Oh,
after they come
wow.
out of the Big Brother house.
It was weird, and especially, like, when you first get out, you have a certain amount, but within the few days after, you gain, like, triple that, because now everyone knows you're gonna be posting. People usually, I mean, even me, I wouldn't follow people on from Big Brother until they left the house because now I'm gonna see what they're doing. Um, So it was a lot. For me too, though, I didn't have any friends that were super fans of Big Brother like me, so I was never able to talk about it. So I actually like kind of like that people would ask. Like I like when people come up to me because I feel like I have kind of a connection because I was a super fan of Big Brother. So it was kind of cool to have that, but it was also weird because like I'm just me. And like, why would someone care what I'm doing? Why does someone care what I'm wearing or what lipstick I just bought? Like, I just find that so weird. So I don't know, which I kind of like that I have that mindset because I feel like sometimes people will really get their head wrapped in everything. So I think I was in the beginning, it was like, okay, what do I do? But I did a lot of research into it too. So now I kind of just I post whatever I want to post and not make it like I need to do what these people are wanting because I'm just a really bad influencer. I don't think to take out my phone 24/7 to talk about my day. I hate doing Q&As on my Instagram, so I just post whenever I feel like it.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't want it to consume me. I mean, Instagram already feels like a job now.
It kind of is actually. It kind of
Yeah,
is once you get into that
it
influencer
is.
realm.
Yeah, and now, I mean, I run an influencer agency now, so now I'm on Instagram even more so. I'm really bad. I need to post more than I do, but I'll get better.
What would you say are the biggest things that you have learned from these experiences that you had in those houses?
In the houses or just like the whole experience in general, like after,
I guess the whole experience. Yeah, I'll say that.
I would say you're not living your life for others. Don't live your life for others. Um, that's a big one. I would say you can definitely overcome more than you can think. I mean, my anxiety for Big Brother before the challenge, I wouldn't even get on a roller coaster. So you can do more than you think you can if you put your mind to it. Um, Other than that, I feel like those are the main two. I feel like for the show, it's like you really can really put if you push yourself, you really can accomplish anything. And also don't live your life to please others. Because you'll scroll through and see 20 positive comments, but you'll see one negative, and that just you think everyone thinks that. And a lot of people, you have to realize too, in reality TV, you're really not anything compared to some big superstar. So the 100 people out of the millions and billions of people in the world, if only 100 people don't like you or have something about to say, it's really not that big of a deal. It's not everybody thinks this about you. So
Yeah, that's definitely a great outlook.
yeah. I didn't think
Now,
it took me a little bit to get to that point, but Kylan helps me a lot. Kylan helped me a
I
lot.
thought of Kylan when you said that for some reason. Maybe because I just watched that conversation a few days
Yeah.
ago.
Kylan's a great friend to have to help you kind of put into perspective of not thinking so negatively. He's a great friend to have for that.
I was watching the interview and I was watching the episode with Zingbot, where Zingbot was basically saying he was long-winded.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the interview, it seemed like you understood him well.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like he has a lot of good points if you can figure everything out and pull
Yeah.
it together.
Yeah, once you get to know Kylan, you can understand like what he's trying to say more so.
Yeah.
And if you give him the time to just explain and talk, like he definitely does. He talks a lot, that's for sure. But
I
he
like
really
that thing he said where he was like, so many billion things had to happen to take place to bring you to this exact point in time.
right. Yeah, don't regret
And
anything either. I
yeah,
truly like
like
I'm happy with how I did on both shows because I think with if any other season, who knows? But with what the Cookout was able to do, I truly made it as far as anyone else possibly could outside of the Cookout. So for me, I feel like I did really well on the challenge. I made it right before. I mean, they left 3 days after me. And for
mhm.
my little old self, I'm pretty proud of how I did. So I don't have any regrets with how I did things.
So do you feel like you are a part of the Cookout experience? I know we were kind of laughing about that earlier when you when you got to the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. No, I'm
But do you
no, because then I would have known about it. I would have known about it then. I
part of the
was an extra bonus.
something I've wanted to know from somebody who's been on Big Brother in particular. When you came out, were you briefed on everything that was going on by your close circle? Like, here's the notes that we took. Here's what this person was saying. Here's what I saw in the house.
Like my own friends back home.
Yes.
There was some, I mean, yeah, they definitely would like let me know here and there. I don't know. I mean, they were definitely invested and they let me know certain things or there was different clips, but I don't think there was anything that I was hurt by or anything. Cause at the end of the day, it's a game. I don't think there was anything personally said about me from my house guests that would make me upset. No, I don't think so.
I kind of like the fact that your season didn't have a super messy off season.
Yes.
I know some people love to get to see the drama and the former castmates fighting back and forth, but I don't.
I feel like I'm the reason why people thought ours got a little messy because of the challenge. But it was very rare. A lot of past Big Brother alumni said like usually there's only like a group from the show that still talks all the time. We still to this day have every single one of us in a group chat together. And we'll message here and there about certain things coming up or jokes or like funny things we saw. Every single person's in it. So it is nice. I really think our cast has really good, genuine people and also people mature enough to kind of separate the two of game and personal. And like I have every single person, there's something like so many positive things about them. So I'm glad that like I'm so happy with the season I went on with. Because what if I was on 21 when I?
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't call me. Thank God. I was so offended. I was so offended. Thank God they didn't call me. So I'm so happy that I was on that one.
I'm a person that just really.
Wait, can you see it? I have a tattoo of it.
Oh, really?
I got it once my anxiety went away after the show. I didn't really want to remember it yet because I was like losing my mind, but I got it a little bit after, mainly because it was like a goal since I was a kid. So I was like, if I can accomplish that, then I can do other things.
I'm a person that strongly believes in timing of things.
Yes.
So even like when we were trying to schedule this interview, I wasn't, I know it's all over the place, but I was thinking to myself, you know what? It didn't happen at this time for this reason. And it didn't happen at this time for this reason. This is the right time.
Yes.
So
even the time changed today. It worked out.
I had an interview for a job before where the same thing happened, where they said, oh, we need to meet you at this time. And then I was on for like 30 minutes waiting for the interviewer. And then I emailed them and they were like, oh, shoot, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Can you meet at this time? That was the actual time that I put in the schedule. And I'm like, I guess so, because I want the job.
Yeah.
So it's the same way I felt about this when it's like your options are this time or next month based on all these different variables. I'm like, unless it's something I absolutely can't move, I'm going to move it and make sure that this happens.
No, I appreciate you being so flexible. I felt so bad this morning and I was so confused on my days. I thought our call was yesterday. So I was really getting confused. I'm glad it worked out.
Good thing you didn't jump on yesterday. Like, where were you?
Yeah. So
is there anything upcoming that we need to look out for you?
Pretty boring. I just stay at home. If you guys want to check out my influencer agency, it's Key Influencer Agency on Instagram. That's kind of something I started back last summer and I've been grinding out for the past like 9 months. And I really enjoy it. So if you guys want to support that.
What exactly is that about?
It's a influencer agency. So basically I have a roster of different influencers from different shows or on TikTok and stuff like that. And I help them get brand deals with brands they genuinely want to have interaction with and help them get deals or different exposure, interviews, brand events and stuff like that. I had the idea in the challenge house because you're allowed to have journals in there. And
Ah,
I was like, I told Angela it, and she was like, "This is really smart. You can like I'll have you as like my agent." So
awesome.
yes,
So I know we're coming to the end of the hour. I
yes.
just want to thank you so much once again for taking this time. Like you really could be doing anywhere, doing anything, and you took the time to be here. And I
No,
really
I'm
appreciate
glad
you.
it worked out. So thank you for emailing me again. I appreciate it.
Yes, and this is my interview of Alyssa from Big Brother 23, The Challenge. I'm signing off. I'll see you guys soon.